Well, it's a good evening, and when I say good evening, it's for all our Australian viewers, and for our UK listeners, it's in the morning. And very successful morning for the English, winning 6-2 the other day in the World Cup preliminary. But needless to say, we're not in the studios. So it's taken 9 hours to get to where we currently are, which is in the outback bush of Queensland, very close to the field cotton fields. And you can hear the wildlife is coming up for twilight here. And obviously the night sky is going to be impeccable because we've had blue skies all the way through from Brisbane up to here, and temperatures are 30.5 degrees. So it's broadcasting from mobile home. We're alongside the banks of the Moonee River. New South Wales is basically on the other side of the river. But it's been an awesome drive out here, watching all the activities taking place with the amount of wheat that's coming out. It's just phenomenal. Mountains and mountains of wheat being harvested and stored under tarpaulins. But anyway, I suppose that's bounces back into the show tonight because it's all about Ark. And I suppose we're saving all the food here into a big natural Ark to be shipped as we do in bulk shipping to the world. Wheat's a very important commodity. And for that, I'm going to pass you over to Andrena, and she's probably going to say, even told the audience why you're out here. Well, the reason we're out here is it's a phenomenal thing. It only happens in Australia. We're here for the pig racing. So that's right, the pig racing. So it's done as a Calcutta. There's many races, and then they have the champions of each race then goes into the final. And so there's a cup that gets awarded. And those who've got the winning pig obviously make a nice collection. Funds go to the Royal Doctors. So there we have it. So anyway, enough of me. I'll hand it over to Andrena.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. And today is Thursday, the 24th of November. And dare I say, in 1 month's time, it could be Christmas Eve. I just had to say something there. Thank you all for joining us on Dreaming the New Dream. And it's our pleasure this week to have Matthew Haines. Now, Matthew is born in Southampton, and he currently lives on the outskirts of Glastonbury. I was going to try and meet up with him when I was up for my birthday weekend a couple of weeks ago, but my weekend was so full on it didn't happen. So but I'm sure it will at some point when I'm dipping in and out. So Matthew is going to share his journey, but especially about Ark-Healing that he's set up. He's the founder and principal of. I read that you opened a healing centre in 2012. Well, healing's always been my passion because my mum was a medium and a healer, so I've come from that background. So would you like to share how you started, how your spiritual journey started, and all the steps that have brought you to this moment in time now?
Right, yeah, absolutely. So as things are with this spirit world, there's a lot of coercion, isn't there? So my journey really started when I was very small. My youngest memories of spirit are from when I was like around 2 years old. And you know, not that I ever did anything with that at that point, obviously, but and as I grew up, it was very much clear in my family that men didn't talk about spirituality or spiritual things. It was very much just the women. So okay, that kept me away from that for a little while, that peer pressure. And then as I got older, I started really connecting with the spirit, and I started getting lots and lots of messages and lots of energy around me that was very much unclean at the time. You know, negative, lower astral plane sort of stuff going on, and basically it drove me forward to making a decision to actually go out and learn more about spirituality. So I become a medium. I was doing platform mediumship around churches and things like that, and I sat for. I did a lot of trance mediumship, a lot of physical mediumship, and generally that started me. I realised just how there's a level of how unclean I was in that time. So it drove me towards the healing aspect, to clean up my energy system and learn more about our connections to the lower astral plane and all those things, those dynamics that play out. And so I started doing a bit of spiritual healing in the churches, started developing that. and also with Usui Reiki. So I went down and I became a Usui Reiki master teacher, then an Angelic Reiki master teacher, and several other things that I really got involved with. And so my actual real healing journey to do with Ark-Healing, which was previously called passive state healing, but I've changed the name because of what it is. It's more of a it's a concept as well as a healing modality. Okay, but so going around to 2017, the what I noticed was, and I don't mean any disrespect to anybody, I really don't, but I just got to say it like it is. You know, I know people that have had healing clients for 15 years, and to me, I just thought, well, do you know what, that's not working. And so I decided to actually look at why that wasn't working and start looking at the dynamics that were playing out around that. And I found that obviously, as a healer or anybody trying to do anything in this world, you need to earn money, so I've got a tractor in the back garden. I'm right in the countryside there. So there's this dynamic playing out where people need to earn money, and then you got the client coming along that actually, they treat things more as a pound per day, or they want to receive healing. They want to have this progression, but without necessarily putting the time and effort in, and it creates a symbiotic relationship between the two. And when you get into a symbiotic relationship in that way, it's what I refer to as a disempowering situation. Okay, and from that, I extrapolated what I needed to do in order to get around symbiotic relationships and disempowerment, and look how to become empowered. And at that time, honestly, it was an amazing journey. In my old house, I had a cabin in the garden. So I gave, apart from the house, I actually have given my house away now, but I'm not recommend that. But I gave away all my stuff, and I was actually just sitting in meditation a lot of time, just on my own, and I was in this lovely journey of and peaks to troughs of real bliss and deep despair. I mean, there's this, the whole, there was a depression that was there, and loneliness and all these things, and then I was going into this bliss. And when I worked it out and I managed to find my equilibrium, I was actually able to tune into, what I refer to then as my higher guidance. It still wasn't fully developed then. So what I refer to as my higher guidance, which then started communicating with me about how to bring about something that is meant to change the way we do things on the planet, to do with empowerment and disempowerment. So the things of like Angelic Reiki and Reikis and healing and hands-on healing, they still have a place at the moment. For instance, if you see someone walking across the road and they tripped over, you go and help. Or someone's really in a bad way, you go and help. And of course, you're going to share energy. But the issue is when we start channeling other energies or calling upon other beings to work through us, first of all, there's a name for that, which is called possession. Okay, certainly that's what I was doing when I was doing a lot of trance mediumship and energies. Were, I could walk totally oblivious. My body would be walking around talking, and I wouldn't even be in my body, but something else would, and that's called possession. Okay, and I didn't realize that I needed that learning at the time, And so when we call upon these beings to work through us, we're actually in a situation where we're handing our power away. Okay, because we're here on this planet at this time where we're meant to be doing all these things for ourselves and progressing with that. Okay, because believe it or not, we are way beyond a lot of these beings that are actually we're channeling, okay, or trying to channel, and because they need to use our energy, and it's to do with the free will of humanity and the way our creation process. So when we call upon a being such as, I always refer to as Archangel Michael. So I do have Archangel Michael with me. That energy does work with me in a way, okay, in a limited way. And so if I was to do, for instance, some sort of Reiki, and I'd ask Archangel Michael to come through and work through me, and so that energy then is actually working through me, and I'm kind of removed from the situation, that's disempowering me. So that means that energy that is Archangel Michael is actually a negative entity by default, because it's disempowering me. Something that is positive, because I refer to it as a high vibration positive and a high vibration negative. Okay, So anything that is actually positive will not work through you in that way. They will not do things for you in that way. But what they will do is support you in your journey, okay? Because they recognize that actually who you are and where you're going to, okay? So it's really important to understand that. Whereas if there's another energy that is actually coming through and working through you, then that is by default negative, okay?
Yeah.
So that's it's a heavy subject, and that really pushes people's buttons, especially for the likes of people that are doing these things and they've got so good, such good intentions, and they're doing these things and they don't quite realize that they're actually handing their power over. And also, we live in, everyone knows what duality is. Okay, so you've got the positive and negative of everything. So for me, when I tune into an energy that is, like Archangel Michael, I always see two of them. Okay, one is positive and one is negative, and the negative one would always seek to do things for you, so you don't develop your power and stand in your power. Okay, and that's quite black and white there. And I know that's a little bit of a bitter pill for people when they first start hearing that. Okay, so when it comes to Ark-Healing, so Ark-Healing was born out of that desire to find a way through to actually not hand my power over to anybody or any being whatsoever, because I've been doing that a lot, all the way through, like I say. So the guidance was to actually create a process, which is just a step-by-step process, where, and so it was called passive state healing. Okay, so the reason why it's called passive state healing was because as a practitioner, I would not provide any energy to what's going on. I would simply act as a guide. Okay, so during that process, I had to learn about how to connect people to themselves in order to create a healing process, which is natural to the body, and that's called now Ark-Healing. So the essence of this, right, is based on the principle that every life that you have had, right, is running now. So this is, we're talking about physical reality here, okay? And there's there's so many layers to physical reality. It's huge. I mean, it's really, it's a massive subject. You haven't got time to even touch that really. But all of our lives are running concurrently. So, but also what that means is that you can tune into every moment of every life as well, okay? And you can actually, in real time, go to that life. So this is alternate life. It's not based in past. It's not based in future, although some of these lives will obviously present in past, even running at the same time as this one and in the future, okay? So through that connection to the body, we just go through a very simple guided process to the body, to connect to the body and ask what the body wants to clear. Okay, so I'll refer to something called energetic bleed points. It's another way of describing how karma works. Okay, karma is in the physical reality. So we have energetic bleed points. So if you imagine that you've got just a simple knee problem or whatever like that, okay, that could be rooted in or is likely to be rooted in an alternate life, okay, be it past, present, or future. And so if you imagine a sponge, for instance, okay, just a little bit of a visual, and the bottom of the sponge is past, the middle of the sponge is present, and the top of the sponge is, the perceived future. Okay, so what happens is with this, the energetic bleed point or the karmic thread, when it feeds through from one life, and it can go from past to future, or seemingly from past to future and back down through the past, it can weave around all over the show. What it does is it causes that sponge to compress, and that then allows for the energetic bleed point to go from whatever alternate life into this life now. And so what we do, we go through a simple process through connecting to the body, and we remove that situation, and it allows, for instance, the sponge to spring back. So there's no energetic overlay. So they're all running at the same time, but we're not bleeding into each other. So a lot of the problems that we have are because of these energetic bleed points. And so with the karma, okay, karma is a very interesting thing. So you get a lot of people say that they can remove karma. First of all, you can't remove it for somebody else. You can only remove it for yourself. Okay, so this is the importance of a guided process. And also karma is rooted, and so these energetic points are actually rooted. So if you're not going through and working through and taking out the root points of that karma or that energetic bleed point, then you're not actually removing anything anyway. Okay, so those that karma, that connection runs into in several places. You've got for instance, our connection. So if you're working with someone in your family member or whatever, and there's something going wrong wherever in that situation, then there's a karmic root within that that energy there, okay, within that connection. And then you've got the body itself, okay, so the body holds these connections, and also because of where we communicate with the body and through the body, and that connects to the other bodies of your existence. There's an energetic connection between there and the alternate body as well, okay. And then you've got things like the time frame. So we're talking about consciousness. So consciousness itself, actually, I see consciousness as a sphere, okay, and within that you've got the different layers. So within that layer of consciousness, you've got the time layer, so you have to remove it from that point. And then you've got the situation itself. So even though the dynamic that plays out between people and what's going on in that way, in those different ways, that's that situation itself, that thought of the situation is its own root, okay. So that also needs to work on. And then you've got the things like the actual place where it took from happened. So that can be perceived to be on Earth, off Earth. And then obviously you then need to work on the Earth itself as well, okay. So the experiences that people have had, and the benefits that have been coming from Ark-Healing and going through this process, if I could change the name, if I named it the way I wanted to, I would call it Weird and Wonderful, because the experiences that people have had are absolutely astonishing. I've had you have everything from people in perceived past life, Egypt, whatever, that type of thing, or wherever in perceived past life. You've also got people that appear on spaceships, that are appearing as stars. One lady was even a geometric light pattern, which is still in the physical reality. And I know that sounds preposterous. I know it's just off the wall, potentially crazy, really. I mean, I can understand that people would think that, but those people that have had the experience and gone through it, it's very real to them, and they do actually tune into that aspect of who they were at that moment, or in that moment, in that real time. And when we're connecting in that way, in that actual moment, it's in real time. This actually, we are there, or you are there, and you're able to experience it in the first hand as the being or whatever energy you were at that time, or you're able to experience it as your own overlighting guide. So you can actually go in and become the guide through to guide yourself through the situation. So obviously in the first hand, things can be actually physically painful. There's a lot of stuff that can actually come up, but you can remove that by just being your overlighting guide. But it's actually really, the concept is very simple. It's just simply sitting down, meditating, not even really in a meditative state. I just take people through what I refer to as a gappy, which is a sphere of protection. And from that, we just connect to the body, and the body starts communicating with them through a see, sense, feel, or they just know what's going on, and it's honestly, it's an amazing thing. The reason why I changed it to Ark-Healing, so going back like 2 years ago, I went on a channeling course, and I just took part as a someone that was just to help other people just do their channeling, really. And the lady who was doing the channeling for me, she come through and she goes, "You're building an ark." And I went, "Oh, well, that's interesting." So I'm talking about 2 years ago. I thought, that's really interesting. Okay, I'm actually a carpenter by trade, so I think, that's. I said, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna have to start doing something crazy like that, am I?" I mean, but what it turns out is that what this is about where we are now in this time, this reality, okay, and how things are playing out on the earth at the moment. And the information that I've been given is not just about the healing side of it. It's about the reason why we're in this situation at the moment, how humanity is giving its power away, and how to take it back. Okay, so this is why the name Ark-Healing comes about, is because it is a lifeboat. This is what it's meant to be, and it's about actually bringing people away from what is it's not about people being negative, okay, but it's about the negative construct in which we live in at the moment, because the whole world is built and based around a negative construct with negative entities and people that are running the show, as we're all getting quite aware of this now anyway.
Mm.
But it goes into the story about how this come about and how to get people away from that negative construct. Okay, so and this, that's a big subject. So do you guys have any questions or anything? Is anybody asking any questions on your end or anything at the moment?
Yeah, I just saw Carol had written weird is wired up differently or something. I saw it flashed up, but no, all good at the minute. No, nothing's flashing up. But I did want to. Could we just backtrack? Did your parents come? If anything is weird, it's just wired differently.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. Did your parents, were they spiritual in any way, or is this totally from you coming into your own on your own merits?
The women on my side of the on my family, they would regularly go every now and then go to mediums and things like that. So there was that spiritual thing there, but my spirituality is very separate to theirs. They're nowhere near what they're not on the same thing as well. I've really pushed it and been taken, like I say, been coerced all the way along. So certainly the last 10 years of my life have been I haven't really been my own as such. I've been coerced into situations to have learning experiences, which I see are very, very, very important. And so that's how that works. So I'm in this situation now where since 2017, where I've been developing this modality, and as it is Ark-Healing now. So I have really gone through the mill on how to do this. I've had to experience it in real time. And like when I was doing my initial case studies, which were most of them were in Portsmouth, near Southampton. And when I was going through that, every experience that was coming up, obviously, because the first rule of healing is do no harm. Okay, so when you're developing something, it's only there to cause harm. You're learning, so you're going to do things that are going to be wrong. And what I found was that every time I went to a session, I was always given the answer that I needed before I got there, even though I wasn't aware of it. But as soon as a situation will present itself, and there's a lot of different situations that can present itself. And so when those situations present itself, I had that answer ready for me. So it had already been seeded. And I found that really encouraging because that put it in a very positive light for me, because there was this innate desire within the system to remove any sort of suffering, and which is magic, because we, as on this planet at this time, we all experience suffering to one degree or another, but the issue is we're not really meant to be doing that. Of course humanity is bought into that and wanting that experience, but actually our default setting, if you're in the positive, is actually joy, happiness, bliss, and enjoying the physical reality from that perspective. The physical reality itself is right on the leading edge of creation. This is the forefront of everything. We're right at the front of it, right here. And to be a human being here on this planet, learning about how to manifest, learning about how to create and shape our reality is huge. And that's the power that humanity has, and the human being has. And this is why the negative, they want that. That's why they're coercing us into making decisions, and they're shaping and creating reality around us. Okay, but using our energy, our free will, because they've been coercing humanity for such a long time, which I can go into, but it's quite heavy, and I don't want to annoy the people that are watching. I don't want to go around triggering people or fry people's minds, sort of thing. So
is your healing center practice down where you live, or are you somewhere else?
So now, actually, through technology, you don't really need a healing center. I embrace technology. There's some nefarious things about technology. We all know about all the spying or whatever like that. But you know what? If you set your positive intention, you can use these things like you guys are doing. You're building your business, building your brand, so to speak, and you're allowing people to speak their truth, and it's super valuable. And look at you. You've got Australia and other people all around the world. And it's an amazing thing. So, and with Ark-Healing, I think it works actually better over the phone.
Does it?
And that's because people are able to be in their own home, in their own, sacred space, so to speak, in their own energy where they're comfortable. And rather than, I'm happy. I travel anywhere. I'll go anywhere and do anything really. But when it comes to people actually sitting in their own space, that's powerful. You know what I mean? And that's for me probably the better way. So over the telephone, not even on video, don't need to do that because we occupy the same space and time anyway. Okay. So
hey Matthew, hey I've just put up your website. I mean, that's completely oblique. It's completely, I mean, no one really is going to find that website, are they? I mean, it's
absolutely not. So
what's going on there?
Yeah, so when it comes to anything like, I've literally just changed over. I was on one platform, but I'm not on. I don't actually have a proper website or anything like that. I think it's Teachable, isn't it? It's basically a landing page to send some people. So it's only really going to be found by people that actually click on it, or if they just contact me. So really, this is just something for people to have some reading material, or just go through and start some sort of journey if they choose to. But it's only coming through the connection, of personal connection, people I meet, or through this, anybody that wants to go on there, or just contact me via my email. So even though it's been around since 2017, I've really just started getting the traction over the last year or so. Last 2 years really. So all these things cost a lot of money, and at the moment, I'd much rather put the money into putting fuel in my car and driving to a place and holding a talk and doing things like that and forming those sort of personal connections, rather than actually just plow it into something that people won't find unless they actually have a look anyway, unless they actually know about it anyway, So, but obviously that's something for the future really to get.
But Ark is much easier, isn't it?
What's that? Sorry.
Ark is much easier, and people will remember that straight away.
Oh yeah, and and it's like I say, is that concept is literally the essence of it is about taking people from the negative into the positive, and
you might have to bring in operate all your past lives, future lives, present lives, and ask for abundance and see how they can give you a standalone website.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so absolutely, and you're absolutely right. Set the intention. So I am doing that sort of thing. I'm setting the intention, and like for instance, it's about control. So there's a level of control. So we need to participate within what we're doing, but also not try and control it as well. So I've been setting the intention that I need to get out there in the world, and then I just got a message from a friend of mine saying that he couldn't attend this because somebody else was supposed to be doing this, and so this is how this come about. This wasn't through any connection of meeting either one of you two. This was just a circumstance that happened. Okay, so which is really cool. For me, that just so reassuring that actually, if you're doing it right and you're in alignment with yourself, making sure that you're moving forward in your journey, then you will be supported in that. So and so that's not doing something for me to disempower me. This is just something that's there allowing me to get out in the world and actually bring this forward. So it's supportive action as opposed to doing for action. Okay, if that makes sense. Yeah. So
referrals are always a form of getting your name out there, because the referral means that if it's genuine, it's heartfelt, and somebody's really been touched on a soulful level. Say, listen, get Matthew Haines on the show because he's a really decent, honest, transparent fella. So you can only act on the words, and those words come with an energy pattern to them. These kids these days are so clued in. They psychometrize any particular magazine, book, or something, and say, "Nah, there's no truth to it." And yet
absolutely.
And then they can pick up essentially from any utterance given. They just know intuitively, instinctively, it's coming from a place of truth.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree. And that is actually something that I get told about. Is that when people connect to this, they see the truth within it, and although it does trigger people, the feedback I get is that it is coming from truth, which is good. Because what you don't want to be in this situation is that you're having some sort of negative guidance through you anyway, because that could possibly happen. But all these situations, come about, and all the healing and stuff like that. So I had, the way I look at that is, it's got to be the proof in the pudding, and that's is why it's important to have the testimonials and things like that. So the testimonials that I've got, which I can share. Obviously, I can share with people all of that sort of thing. But these testimonials are widespread. So you've got people that have stepped away from drug addiction in one session. Okay, one session is taken and they've moved away. Another a young lad, it took him 3 sessions. He's been on pharmaceutical medication since his childhood. He's spent a lot of time in hospital, and then he went into non-pharmaceutical drug addiction, alcoholism and stuff like that. And he had 3 sessions of Ark-Healing, and he still goes to raves and stuff like that, and he doesn't touch anything anymore. It's left him. It's good. He doesn't need that anymore.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Things like toxic relationships. So we've all been in those sort of dynamics where there's people around us, we just can't seem to get away from them. And even just one session, and that goes, it's gone, and those people are gone. There's a lady, one of my original case studies, called Jackie. She was due to have her gallbladder taken out, and she didn't have to have that. So that was a very big subject. That was actually not necessarily rooted so much in the alternate lives. That was actually a very negative energy that was running through her. And with negative entities, they, I'm talking about demons here. Okay,
Yeah.
Keep it simple. Right. So demons operate in a different way to what we do. Okay, so they're linear, so they exist throughout whatever amount of times go. But we are on this death and rebirth cycle. So what they do is they actually form a connection within the body, and that's anybody that you've had, and they put an energetic. It's very much like an energetic rod. It's still like semi-physical, and so anytime that you reincarnate, they can just reconnect straight back to you. Okay, so for instance, when someone turns around and they do work to remove a demon or an entity of that nature, and they remove it. They haven't. All they've done, they might have removed it from this now moment temporarily, but that will still be connected into the body somewhere. So unless you go through the right process and remove that, you can't remove them. There's other things that you can remove in different ways, but also the importance is when this lady no longer has to have a gallbladder taken out. It's a bold claim, you know what I mean? But she no longer has to have it out. So I guided her through a process where she removed this energetic rod. Okay, and this is one of these times when I was doing a case study. It didn't get me, but it freaked her out a little bit. And as she's pulled out this semi-physical rod, the demon that's connected to it appeared in the room, and it was full on projecting all its fear. And she turned around and she goes, "Is this normal?" Yes, it's absolutely fine. It's fine. And I'm like, God, just containing myself. Okay, like that. And we went through the process and took it away. And there's some other things that we have within the body. So there's actually a silver thread that exists within the heart. Okay, and you can use this like a bit like a spidey web type of thing. To me, I see it as silver. And so if you've got anything negative around you, you can actually wrap this thread around them, and it stops them. It's actually a very aggressive thing. Okay, so normally if I'm doing a talk or whatever, I'd guide people through the process so they can experience this, or I'd take them through what I refer to as a sphere of protection. So, and it would wrap them up. But this because it's a silver thread, a silver cord, what it does is it starts dissolving the entity. Okay, so it's going to remove it from existence. Okay, so it's advised not to do it, not to use it at all. But you can use it as a threat. If you're struggling, then you can just do this and just put it in it, and then take it back out and say, look, if you carry on, this is how it's going to be. And generally speaking, they conform. If I get an entity of that level now, it won't even do anything. It just stand in front of me and just wait for the process to happen. It doesn't resist. It can't leave, and it's there, and that's it. Which is to me is like really, really, really cool. Really cool. But this is all like I say, this is about it's about sovereignty, it's about empowerment, and that's what this modality is about. It's about us recognizing who we are, and that we are these powerful beings, because we're we all talk about like angels, ascended masters, and all those sort of things. Okay, but they're not here right now at this time in our existence, where things are as hard as they can possibly. They're harder now than they've ever been for people, and the level of negativity and negative control on the planet. So those beings really don't have a perspective on how things are here. Okay, and we do. And you can't come to this planet unless you're of a frequency already in order to be able to deal with this and work through it. So we are the masters. We are those higher beings, and we are here now and doing this. And it's not until we pass on and we have an experience that these ascended masters or the angels or whatever, they don't get any expanse until we have our expanse first. Okay, because it comes through us. Okay, if that makes sense. And so there's the thing about sovereignty as well, and we all talk about sovereignty, but I don't think anybody really knows truly what that is. Okay, so for me, sovereignty is about that, owning who you are, being who you are, being your authentic you, no matter what, being your authentic you. It's making the steps to clear your energy. And I like to say to people, I feel that the first word in sovereignty is no. And it's no free of any explanation. So if you don't want to do something, if you don't want to interact or anything like that, if you get any feelings of disempowerment, the answer is no. And so like with symbiotic relationships, toxic relationships, all of that, once we get to that power of the word no, we're starting to get there at that point. Until we get there, we can't move forward. So this is what Ark-Healing is about. It's not just about the experience of having, going to alternate lives and doing the clearing. Removing karma at this time is so important for humanity because it's part of the negative construct. It's what keeps us bound here in this death and life circle, keeps us going round and round and round in the washing machine, so to speak. So we have to remove this. We just have to. And that's how we may manage to raise our vibration, is by taking away these energetic bleed points and allowing these things to be their own separate experience. And then we don't have that tie that's holding us to all of this negative situation. And there's a lot of people at the moment that experience real negativity, especially people that consider themselves, like workers and stuff like that. They, most people of a frequency on this planet at this time are having problems with technology, having problems with cars, having problems with their homes, having problems in their relationships, having problems in everyday life. The reason for that is because the negative, that what I refer to as the high vibrational negative, is having such an influence in the world around them that they're literally under attack. So, it's kind of, for want of a better expression, we're kind of in this energetic war, so to speak. But also as well, because of the karmic relationship with people, there's this danger that we have to pay off karma, this belief system that we have to pay it off. And as I consider myself as or other people that are conceived as being light workers, then not always necessarily been here on this planet all for a long period of time. This could even be their first real incarnation, but the body itself has a lineage. So when this being comes in here now, it's like the human soul steps out of the way. So when that higher vibration comes in to occupy that space in order to bring some energy into the world, it comes in under the agreement that it has to help the soul that's replaced and that lineage that's there. So there's a dispensation for that as well. But also there's through a lot of the time, if people aren't doing like a daily practice and really doing their best to keep their vibration clear and setting positive intentions and deliberately clearing any negative energies that are around them, then it will play out through their lives and it will echo, and things in people's lives will go wrong for that reason, just because that's the deal, really. If you're not actively doing it, then it's got to play out either through the body or through the environment, and that's the way of it. Let alone putting in the negative connotation of the negative that is running the show. So, if it's okay, I would like to talk just a little bit about that. If we've got more time, is it?
Yeah, you're all good. I was going to ask. Oh, there was somebody flashed up. I've forgotten the person's name just now. She said she was looking at your website. and she asked what was a rainbow reading. So is it a different name as opposed to a psychic reading? Yvette Shinebright says, what's a rainbow reading?
So it's referred to as the Rainbow Bridge of Light. Okay, so that's I connect into my higher self, and my higher self connects to the client's higher self, and then connects to them. So traditionally, when it comes to readings, it's a lot. There's a lot of guides that come in to give advice, and there's relatives that have passed to give advice. So in that situation, what really is happening is you're just having somebody else's opinion. So there's no different to us having a conversation. We'll give each other our opinion, and that's it. It doesn't necessarily have any net worth as such, other than we're in a conversation. But when we connect into the high self to high self connection, or the rainbow bridges that I refer to it, is you get the pure information that comes up. Okay, so and it comes, so you do get the life guidance, but it's not necessarily given to you in the way that you must do this, go from A to B to C to D, because that would be removing your learning. But what it does is it can present blocks and things that are in your way in order to clear in that now moment. And also, so at that time there, what generally happens is I'd go through an Ark-Healing process in order to help clear those blocks where they present in real time. And some of the information it's about just allowing you to have your realization. I used to call them epiphany readings, but for some reason people didn't like the word epiphany. I mean, it's like, but that's what it does. It helps people have that. Oh yeah, okay. So they know the information rather than just hear somebody in the background going blah blah blah. I mean, it's actually in real time. They can understand it and see what's going on, which is really cool. And
so you're actually giving them guidance and helping clear their blocks along the way.
Yeah. So it's that, but like I say, with the guidance, it's more about the information when it comes through. It's more about helping them have their realization. So it's not me saying, "Oh, you must go here and do that." It's about saying things to them that will invoke within them their desire to do this in the right way, and to have those moments of those penny dropping moments. That's what it's about. So they have the realization themselves rather than relying on.
So emerging through 410, it's saying, is that referred to as blood codes?
I don't know what the blood codes are, so I couldn't tell you.
No, I've never heard of blood codes. I got to be honest with you, Jeffrey.
No.
Oh. So that refers primarily to bloodlines, in terms of historical significance. So how you have O, negative O plus, and then you have A, and then you have B and AB.
Oh, right, okay.
And then you start looking at those particular bloodlines.
So when it comes to Ark-Healing, we can do work on our own lineage. So where we have trodden, but we can't do it on somebody else's behalf. Okay, so if like for instance, if my grandfather had done something, I could go and have a communication with him in that real time, but he has to do the work. I can't do it for him.
Yeah, so, of course.
There's no actual paying off of anything for anybody else. We have to do it ourselves now. And and this also as well comes to protection. So when people they hold workshops, they attend workshops and stuff like that. Now when I hold a workshop, I will space clear. I'll make sure there's nothing negative around, and I will take people through what I refer to as the power-free sphere of protection, which is a system for protecting from the outside, but also protection from the inside as well, because you've got to do it both ways. But when anybody does a workshop now, if you're aware enough, and you've got say you've got 10 people in your workshop, and you've set the space, you set your intention, it's all clear. But if that person or one of the people there hasn't done that, even though you've guided them through that process, the negative can still come in and influence them. They're free to wander around, okay? And you can't do anything about it. And the reason we can't do anything about it is because the person themselves has to own what they're doing now. And this is the thing. This is the thing that's been changing certainly over the last 10 years. Is we're actually getting to the point now where we have to be sovereign. We don't get the dispensation for winging it so much. You know, it's a different thing. And this is why I teach people the power of free spirit protection. And I do that whatever I'm doing. So I'm doing a workshop, I'm doing a reading, if I'm doing it, doing the healing, then they will always be taken through that, and that's given to them so they can have that skill in order to protect themselves when they're doing whatever they're doing in their life and really start owning what they're doing, you know. Which I love to do. I love to share that, you know. So you've got to be a little bit mindful about all these things. And what I don't like about Ark-Healing, one thing that I feel is negative about it is I spend a lot of time talking about negative, you know, because I'm trying to convey something that we need to come away from, and it's important to have that conversation. But you know, unfortunately, it means I've got to sit within that energy sometimes in order to convey what's going on and talk about the negative side of it. But it's actually only to shine light on it, if that makes sense, to help people come away. You know what I mean? So, I've had that feedback because some people say, well, you know, if you're thinking about the negative, then you're creating the negative. But it's not. It's more of a working within a reflection of humanity at the moment. Is that reflective needs to be have the light shining on it, shined upon it. So in order to help people come away and see what they're doing. So that's the only downside to me with any sort of communication. But the rest of it is absolutely brilliant. The feedback I'm getting, I've got it's only 14 practitioners, but there's lots of people that have had it. There's an attunement that after you've had 3 sessions of Ark-Healing, I said because I was still in my mind, it's still passive state healing. So after you've had 3 sessions of Ark-Healing, you're then within the energy of having paid enough karma off in order to do an attunement, which is actually which removes the negative. Okay. And it removes the negative, which is based in masculinity and the masculine energy. But it takes away the masculinity, brings in the feminine, and then reintroduces the masculine, so they harmonize and then become unity. You know, so it's actually a really nice thing to do. But once you've had these 3 sessions, by that time you should be able to do it yourself. You know what I mean? Yeah. So this is the purpose of this. It's not for me to keep making loads of money, the repeat business. By default, I'm only allowed to do 9, or a practitioner is only allowed to do 9 sessions.
Right.
And that's it.
And is this on Zoom or in person?
No, that's generally over the phone. Just literally over the phone. You don't have to worry about the Zoom or anything like that. It can be done in person, but like I say, my preference is to do it over the phone, and that's because it just keeps it really simple, And like I say, once you've done a maximum of 9 sessions, I'm told that the reason why the number 9 is important is purely because you should have it weighed off by then, and that includes the intricacies of how to deal with anything negative, demons or whatever like that, anything that's running through you, any entities that need to be cleared. So this is about empowerment. I couldn't have people keep coming back because it just develops a relationship. Then I'll be guilty of all the things that I'm saying you shouldn't do anymore.
And you said number 9. So I'm a number 9, and it's all about tying up all loose ends, completion. So so what was I going to say about that then? So obviously you don't do like a weekend with the Ark-Healing. You do like what? So if I said to you, right, I'd like to do the Ark-Healing, we would be doing it over the phone, and then like say Jeff would be doing it over the phone. So you don't do it as a group or anything. Is it one-on-ones? Or
so generally speaking, a per session is 1 hour. Okay, so and I do that one-on-one, but I do have an Ark-Healing level 1 online course. Okay, so that would be done by Zoom. So that's a 28-page manual. At the moment, I've reduced that to £99 for anybody that's viewing on here, anybody who even says they're viewing on here. So there's that's for £99. So you'll get a 28-page manual for that. And there's 7 videos that I will send out individually to people, and also there'll be 7 times for Q&As and support through that in order to learn that. So rather than spending, I normally charge £88 for one session, or a multiple book that is, you know how that works. Or at this moment, the self-healing one, because I want people to do it from self, is 99 quid, and that's over 7 weeks. So nice and easy. So it's keeping it affordable for people, but also people have got to pay, because it's, you know, the energetically at the moment we're still in that energy that we need. We all need money, you know, we know that, but also people value things that they actually pay for. And I found one of the times when Ark-Healing doesn't work whatsoever is if people haven't created some sort of energy exchange for it in the first instance, for whatever reason that is. And I believe that's not so much about me and whether or not I want to get paid or don't want to get paid. I think that's more to do with the people and putting value on things we pay. We're conditioned that way. That's the way we live. That's the way the world is at this time, you know. And you know, so this transitional point we're in, so you know, there is a convergence point coming, okay, and it's not, I know it's not far away. I'm not giving any date because it's always variable anyway, you know that.
Yeah.
But there's a convergence point coming, and what I refer to as the high vibrational positive, which is the positive aspects of everything of duality, or you've got the high vibrational negative, which is the negative aspects of duality. They're both trying to coerce and get people to that point, that conversion point, in order to have the energies go in whatever way. And you know, the reason why there's so many people on this planet at this time is because you've got people coming in to go in one direction and people going into other directions. So I don't know if you're familiar with the term, you probably are, the 100 monkey.
Yeah.
I don't give that any real credence, because we're all here having our own individual experience, and you know, on a soul level, you know, some people will want to go down and experience the more negative, and some people want to be going through the higher and finer vibrations and experiencing positive in that way, and other people just want to simmer and stay the same. So there'd be other people going in other directions there. So although there is this unity, you know, the unity is something that is magic that we're going to on our journey. But there's unity in negative, and there's unity in positive. Okay, so it's actually a very individual thing, and we are all responsible for our ourselves. We are really responsible, but we're encouraged to you know, to help other people as well, obviously. And like unity, I know it begins with a you, but unity begins with you. You know, you can't do anything without doing that bit first, and we can't achieve anything together without actually setting the intention that we're going to work in that positive way. So this is why, you know, I've created the level 1 course. It's so people can do it in their real time, in their own time. They can do it in the comfort, and any questions they have, they can refer to the video, to the manual, and then they can come across and do this, you know, the online live.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and because that way, they're not responsible for having to pay out lots of money, but they're still making an investment in themselves. They can really get a good feel of it, which is what, you know, when it comes to you know, a one-on-one session, which is brilliant, it's very individual, so you're only going to get it from your perspective anyway. But when you've got that group setting and people are asking group questions or sharing their group their experiences into a group, then it gives a unique perspective that everybody can actually work on and see things from that, and help open the mind. So because we're preconditioned to have past lives, not alternate lives, you know, so once people start witnessing other people that are talking about these other, like what would be perceived as future lives or present lives that are off the planet, sort of thing, not around here, then it helps them open up their mind, open up their reality, you know. So you know, a lot of healing modalities, they work on the 4-body system, which is, you know, mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual. Whereas this is actually 5-body system, so it includes and incorporates the multi-dimensional aspect as well. Okay, so which is really, really important. That's quite new. I know there are multi-dimensional healings and stuff like that out there. I'm not saying it's the only one, but this is what it does. It embodies all 5 of these things in order to remove the karma, in order to be able to remove those energetic bleed points. Go through a simple, very, very simple process, learning how to do it for ourselves, standing in our power, and that way we're going to change the way the world is, and we're going to you know, go down that positive route rather than the negative route, unless people choose down the negative route. That's right. And it's all well and good, you know, like for us, you know, when I was doing the talk in Glastonbury Abbey, there's a lot of people that are spiritual teachers, and so they've got a very deep understanding of what's going on anyway, and things like that type of thing. But this isn't always just aimed at people that are waking up. This is about the people that don't know anything yet. I feel that humanity is by default a positive thing, and most people are nice. Most people got a nice, loving energy, and they're just doing their doing. They got their head down, but they don't actually know that they're bound to a negative construct. And this is what I'm really seeking to help, is get this out there in the world, to help those people that will wake up and will find their way, but to give them something to go to. Because it's not, I'm not saying that humanity is by default negative. It's just humanity is coerced into a negative construct, and then we need to get them away from that if they choose to.
Yeah, of course. It's free choice, isn't it, at the end of the day?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm making my choice of bringing forward something that I believe, Ark is to help people. Is to help those people that are choosing to be positive. And it's not that I don't care about the people that are choosing to be negative, but they can just find their own way with that, because
that's right.
Yeah,
their choice.
Of course, yeah, and no judgment. It's no judgment. I just want the options. I really want the options to be there. I want people to see what their options are and make their choices accordingly with what's right for them, and that's it. I'm not trying to coerce or control anything. I'm bringing this forward. I would like to earn some money. Of course, I need to get paid for what I do. Of course, that's the world we live in. But I don't want to rip anybody off, and I'd rather go for volume over, big numbers. Big numbers of money. I'd rather go for the volume of people that are known. So this is the second time that Ark-Healing has made it to Australia. So there is actually one lady that has had 3 sessions in Australia and had the achievement as well. So it's actually it's already started anchoring there, which is really cool. So that's not bad. Yeah.
Oh, no.
And I'm really grateful for this opportunity. I know you're doing what you're doing. You need to fill slots and do whatever like that. But I love the way that things work out, and I'm really grateful for this opportunity to come and speak and to anybody that is listening. And and it's a lovely thing. And I'm really grateful for what you do, because you got people like me that are doing what I'm doing. But without people like you, it doesn't work. How do I talk to? I've got to get out and actually individually talk to people one-on-one. Whereas with guys like you, that facilitators, it's just such an important role. It really is.
Well, thank you for that. Hey, Jeffrey. Yeah. So, we do our best to bring variety, and I follow most leads that people send me, or I have a chit chat with people, or last minute dates are rearranging and all sorts of things. But yeah, I just think it's important to give everybody a voice to share their passion and what they're doing to help themselves with humanity. So and like giving a free voice and free speech, to share.
That's it. And if I only reach one person through this, that's massive. That's just to communicate with anybody and find someone that resonates with what you're saying. That's absolutely huge when you're bringing something to the world. But my guidance is, it's not always. I'm told there's 3 types of people. Okay, so the first person is the people that resonate with you. And that's great, because they're going to help you pay your bills. You need to survive in this world, and they're going to resonate with you. They're going to work with you. They're going to do all those things that we're all seeking for. But then you've got a second group of people. They're going to go, do you know what? I think you're a nut job. You're talking complete and utter nonsense, and that is really, really powerful, because what you're doing inadvertently is you're helping that person find their sovereignty and their empowerment themselves, and they're going off in their direction to experience what they need to. So that's absolutely perfect. Honestly, that's probably the best group for the energy of everything. Not that I'm dismissing people coming over, obviously. And then you've got the other 98% of the population that just won't care either way. That's the 3 categories. And and you got it's an onwards and upwards thing. And when I'm I do my own protection, and I have a high level of protection in the things that I can do, and my awareness, and I know when the negative is out playing its game around me and stuff like that, which I'm very lucky like that. I've built that skill set, but it still happens. And there's been times that I've gone, do you know what, I'm going to need to throw the towel in there. This is too much. it costs me money to do this most of the time, because it's, you know, in the early stage, you've got to invest in what you're doing. You know, and it takes time. So it takes time away from what you would be doing, like with carpentry and stuff like that. And even when I'm doing my carpentry, because I work in and around Glastonbury, so I'm always in that teacher mode, always talking to people. So I only get paid for like half a day, because I'm spend most of the time having the conversation about what I'm trying to bring and trying to do, so to speak. You know, so you know, it's a very interesting dynamic with protection, and making sure that you are very aware of what's going on around you, because the negative will play the game. They do it, you know, they do it. Yeah, I mean, it's there, it's happening. But you know, it's how you do it. So now I'm in a situation where no matter how hard it gets, I have to just dust myself off and carry on going, and that's it. And that's what sovereignty is about. Is you've got to keep going. You know, and there's so many people out there at the moment that I've been familiar with. You know, that are people been on their spiritual journey. And a lot of people are stopping what they're doing. You know, even if you know, it is through mediumship or through healing or anything like that, they're stopping their journey, you know, because they can't handle the way life is treating them at the moment. And I would say with that, if you do nothing else, you carry on, you find a way forward, and you keep going, and you forge a path. You know, it's really important to create your flow, and don't be in this situation of being in the flow, so to speak. So we're on time. Can I just say about the flow quickly?
Yeah, okay? And there was a question as well. Auntie Carol's just asked about how can we protect ourselves from negative energies. So that would be, I would say to you, what would be your what would you like to leave the show with today, and any listeners, any guidance into protecting themselves or anything along their pathway? What would be your final words, as well as what you wanted to share?
Well, I can share it through that. So it's kind of the same thing. So people refer to being in the flow, okay? And they say, I'm in the flow. So if we use the analogy of a river or a creek, then dead things are in the flow. And those dead things just get taken wherever, they get dumped on the shore, on the, you know, or washed out to sea.
Yeah.
So in order to be a sovereign being where nothing can touch you, all right, so this is where protection really lies, is to create your own flow. Okay, because first of all, if you're on a flow and you don't know what flow that is or whose flow that is, even if you term it as, oh, it's down to God. So part of this negative construct really shrouds that. Okay, whatever your terminology for, you know, that God or source. So what you need to do is decide what you want to do, where you want to go in your life, and make positive steps towards it, and force it to happen, and just keep going, keep dusting yourself off, and over time setting that intention that nothing is coming to you. Nothing negative can touch you. And once you get into your power, once you get into that sovereignty, and you're fully in that sovereignty, they cannot touch you. So the times when I'm really in my power, nothing touches me, nothing come anywhere near me. It can't get into my energy field, because it's not allowed to. I'm too solid. You know, you know, my radiance is too much for anything of a negative energy to come into. So this is an encouragement to be your empowered you, to find your sovereignty and make positive step forwards wherever you are, doing whatever it is you want to do, and really go for it. Do not take that no for an answer. Don't take resistance. So resistance to anything is because you're moving from one flow into another flow. That's where the resistance is. So you're going in that direction. So you're going across the flow, so to speak, which is probably somebody else's anyway, potentially something negative, and you're forging your own flow. So at that resistance point there, that's where you get all these things that can come in, and that's where things get painful. Okay, that's I refer to it as the number 17. There you go.
Oh yeah, you were going to mention about that.
Yeah, I'll do that quickly. I'm running over, I know. So number 17 is very important. So the world itself is in a number 17 at the moment, and we, to be here, have to be a 17th dimensional being in order to come here in the first place. Okay, that's how powerful we are. I'm going to say it quickly. So you've got three types of luck. This is how to describe it. You've got good luck, and you've got bad luck, and you've got a thing that's referred to as dark luck. Now, without the dark luck, right? So you would. This is where you perceive something as bad has happened to you, but had you not had that bad thing happen to you, you wouldn't be in this positive place where you're going to, or where you are now. So it's a catalyst for whatever you're for the positive place you're going to, and that is the same as going from one flow into the other. It's a resistance point where you're forging your way through, and things will fall apart or can fall apart, and then you're moving into that positive place, and you're owning your power, you're accepting who you are, you're in your sovereignty, you're in your authenticity. And as you do that, you transform. And so the number 17 is the most transformative number that you can experience and you can work on. I do have actually a representation of it, a mandala, so you can work with it. And so you, with that in mind, it's about owning who you are. So this is where we are in humanity. It's about, I am me, this is who I am, and I am not taking no for an answer for any time whatsoever that I'm going to be any less than me, irrespective of what anybody else says. And once you get into that power, nothing can touch you, okay? I would say about getting into the heart energy on that, obviously, but it's not just about being in the heart. There's a bit of a mistake at the moment with people that are too much in the heart. You go into your heart too much, you're actually in a state of non-function. You know, it's all about the meditation and things like that. So you need to be in a heart-mind coherence, okay, and a balance between the two. So there's a company called Heart Math, you know, not meaning to send away from what I do, but Heart Math, go and look at heart-mind coherence. If you're going to do nothing as a daily practice, do that. You know, other than that, I would do that. That's where you start. It's a heart-mind coherence, and Heart Math does that.
Okay, brilliant. Well, thank you very much for sharing. It's been a really interesting listening to you talking about Ark-Healing, how you've brought it about. So, yeah, very interesting. So,
and like I say, the level 1 is and is there for anybody for £99 at the moment. They can get in touch with me on Matthew and MATTHEW.DTES@pm.me. Okay, so that's also my email address. So if they want some more information or to pursue that, then they're welcome to contact me there. And obviously I do readings and stuff like that as well, so if anybody's interested in that. But thank you very much for having me on your show. And I hope it hasn't rubbed you up too much the wrong way.
No, not at all. Take it all in the flow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Positive flow.
All in the positive flow, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much, Matthew. And Jeffrey?
That's all good. Thank you. You
flashed on and off a few times, but you came back again. But yeah, very enjoyable.
I think it's we had the same issues when we went to Tara for the camel and yabby racing. So, you know, it's a population of 2,600 and then it gets to 15,000. Everybody wants to jump on the internet. I think that's what's actually happened here.
Yeah. But anyway, it's all good.
So, yeah, no, I can still hear your shows and people have come through. Right. Mr. Glastonbury.
Thank you very much for having me. It is really
our pleasure.
Really appreciate it. And I know, you know, for whatever, you know, the propulsion is, be it people resonate or people don't, it's the propulsion that they need either way. So it's absolutely perfect. You know, it's great. Thank you very much.